I'm Karen Sweeney, I'm 28 years old and I'm the Chief Arborist for the City of Sydney.
All the way down.
I'm the city's arborist, so I'm the manager of all trees across the City of Sydney Council. It's a fantastic job because I look after street trees, park trees, trees in private property, but I'm also responsible for all trees, so writing all the policies, strategic direction. So the area I look after is 26 square kilometres in size. So it's quite good because it's varied. You know, looking after a street tree that's always the utilities working around it, power lines, big building going around it. There's lots of dirt, pollution, car exhaust, all those sorts of really tough things to deal with. And then you go out into the lovely parks and into, you know, Australia's oldest park in Hyde Park, and I'm looking after trees that are 150 or 200 years old, and that's just fantastic. There's different components of the work. You can either be a climbing arborist where you walk up and maintain the trees. You can be a consultant arborist, so you're basically writing about the trees, or you can be an arborist in local government or a tree management officer, and so we do a bit of both. We make sure that the operations happen, so the trees are pruned, removed, planted, all those sorts of things. We also look after the budgets and the consulting side, and write all the policies and a bit of strategic work, so it's quite varied. I used to climb trees, but not anymore. I've never been much of a climber. My main part of the job is to have a look at what needs to happen on the trees. I then organise the guys to do the work. We might decide that it only needs a bit of pruning, or I might be removing the whole tree. It might be a whole avenue of trees. So that's, I guess, the tough part about my job is making that decision to do those works and telling the community these are the works that have to happen, and then organising them to make sure they're done safely. Sometimes when we think a tree's diseased, we need to know how decayed or diseased it is in the trunk, because otherwise they fall over. So we come in and I drill into the base and I can see whether or not the tree is decayed by the colour of the wood. So sometimes it's really dark and other times it's a soft pinky white colour. That's actually the healthy part of the tree. And from that we work out whether or not the tree's in a really bad state and needs to be removed quickly, or whether or not we monitor it and come back each year. There's lots I love about my job. I have a fantastic job and I'm always sitting back thinking, wow, you know, I get to look after all these trees. The best part is that you can be indoors and outdoors. The other part about it is knowing that I'm planning for the future. We've got a big plan to actually remove the trees in stages because of how diseased they are. And so that's my next role over the next 5 years, knowing that I'm putting the next, 150-year trees in. I left school at year 10 and went and did a HSC pathway, so that meant I could do my HSC but also study horticulture, and that was great. Anyway, I moved on and got an apprenticeship at another council, and that was fantastic because I worked in doing the bush regeneration until I moved into the tree crew. And as soon as I got in there, I didn't want to leave. It was fantastic, I was working with chainsaws, I was chopping down trees, I was pruning them, I was planting them. It was just phenomenal, and I'd be standing there just thinking, this is such a great job. So I went and did a diploma of arboriculture, and I finished that quite a few years ago, and it was a really good experience. It took 2 years to do, and you study at night, and you learn so many things about trees. You think you know a lot, and then you go off and you find out there's a whole new world out there. I had worked at a different council as a tree management officer, and I saw a job that came up at the city, and I got the job. And as soon as I started, I realised, wow, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and it's far more than what I can do if we're going to do it properly. So I was really fortunate that I had the support from management to build up the team and to give me some resources, and they promoted me to be the manager to the city arborist position. So that was fantastic. There's so much work around. If you want to be a climbing arborist, there's heaps of work. Everyone's looking for good people. If you want to be a consultant, there's so much work out there, working on all the development that's happening. And then local government is screaming out for good qualified people as well. Best part about my job is obviously being outdoors, wandering around, looking at trees. It is fantastic to think I get paid for that. On the other side of the coin, I actually do have to answer the really awful phone calls from people of the community who aren't very happy. I think people forget that arborists love trees.